Hi everyone, we're going to get started now. This is Marin Hirsch, the sales manager here at NetElixir, and we appreciate you joining us today to cover our 2013 Holiday Retail Insights. So for those of you who don't know about NetElixir, a brief background about us. We offer search marketing services and technology to retailers like Lenovo, Oneida, and K-Swiss. We're headquartered in Princeton, New Jersey, but we also have global offices in London as well as Hyderabad, India. Our team consists of 70+ members with a multitude of search marketing engineers, data scientists, technologists, global operations managers, and our goal basically is all to work together, constantly ideating, innovating, and implementing unique practices that drive toward our vision of empowering global search advertisers. We invite you to follow us on Twitter at NetElixir, and please feel free to check out our website, NetElixir.com. So about NetElixir University. We were launched in 2012 with a vision of democratizing the digital marketing industry through exceptional knowledge and expertise sharing. Our goal is to share best practices in retail and digital marketing with 10,000 businesses worldwide by 2015. We invite you to join our NetElixir University group on LinkedIn, so feel free to check us out. And just a brief background about our speaker today, Udayan Bose. He's our founder and CEO at NetElixir. He founded PartyBingo.com, which is also Party Gaming, and has been a guest lecturer at Johnson School of Management, Cornell University, as well as City University of New York, Baruch, and the Indian School of Business. And he's also been quoted in the New York Times, Forbes, and Time Magazine. So here's our table of contents today, what we're going to be covering. We're going to be discussing the NetElixir holiday calendar, forecasts versus actuals, also tracking the year-over-year cost per click inflation on Google and Bing, also mapping the cost per click inflation against e-commerce revenue growth, also sharing some key takeaways with you, and also wanted to share how NetElixir helped our client Kansas City Steaks tap incremental SEM revenue opportunities and grow their year-over-year revenue. So what we use is some data sources. NetElixir Retail Intelligence Research has been since 2008 in August. We have been tracking key search engine marketing metrics for 32 mid-size and large U.S. online retailers. And during the holidays, this data was captured on an hourly basis. So basically, we did a presentation on December 13th by ComScore showing holiday e-commerce trends through Green Monday. So I'm actually going to pass over to Udayan now. Udayan Bose is going to be sharing these insights with you. Udayan?
Thank you, Marin. Hello, everyone. Let me start by sharing the holiday calendar that we had produced in August and shared it in our NetElixir University webinar in August. So in this rather colorful calendar, you would see that the different dates between Thanksgiving and 21st of December, which is just this weekend, have been basically marked in different colors. So the colors which were highlighted in red, we expected the competition on paid search to be highest, and hence they were marked red. And because of higher competition, we expected the year-on-year cost per click inflation to be higher than 50%. The days which have been marked orange, for example, the 1st of December was one of those dates, 8th of December, and so on. We expected the competition to really drive up the CPC or cost per click by more than 30%, so 30% to 50%. And on the other dates, which have been marked yellow, we expected the CPC inflation to be about 25% to 30% year-on-year. Understandably, for all of these dates, the competition was directly linked, or that's what we expected or estimated would be linked to the overall e-commerce revenues or e-commerce sales which happen on that day. Now, in the next few slides, I'll share with you as to how exactly did this calendar, with the context of this calendar, did the actual e-commerce sales revenues do? And how was the CPC fluctuation? As Marin mentioned, our retail intelligence unit tracks the CPCs and other key metrics like AOV, click-through rates, conversion rate, etc. on an hourly basis. So we wanted to just focus on the CPCs for this presentation, the cost per clicks, and try to sort of correlate that with the sales revenue numbers which were presented by ComScore on last Friday. So effectively, just to help you understand this particular slide a little better, on the right side, I have this data table presented by ComScore in their presentation, and effectively they have tracked the actual sales revenues, e-commerce sales revenues, as well as the sales growth for those particular dates. These are actual numbers tracked by the ComScore panel of more than 2 million sort of database users. On the left side, we have tried to really extrapolate and superimpose that our calendar with the ComScore calendar, and try to establish as to whether how accurate basically was our calendar that we had presented in August. So let us start with some of the gaps first. As you would see that in our calendar, 5th of December was supposed to be a fairly moderate day in terms of which realized a cost per click increase of 25 to 30%, so which wasn't really a very competitive day. But per ComScore, I think also we had projected in our calendar that the weekends would be relatively slow, not as high growth just because of the past year trends. Now let us see and let us compare as to how did it really do in terms of the ComScore results. Now effectively 5th of December per ComScore data was a 1 billion plus e-commerce day. So clearly there was a departure. Our accuracy was not really high out here, and there seems to be a departure. And the weekends, interestingly, and that was one of the very interesting trends that we have observed during this holiday season, that the weekends have been surprisingly strong. I mean, as ComScore's data really reflects, the Thanksgiving weekend, basically the Saturday and Sunday, realized a 34% growth over the Saturday and Sunday last year, which is 2012. So I think those were the two aberrations. Otherwise, if you were to really sort of map our calendar versus the actual numbers presented by ComScore, there seems to be a fairly high level of accuracy in terms of our projections. Then we tried to grade the actual CPC inflation. How was the year-on-year CPC inflation? So in the table that is there in front, or the calendar, we have tried to highlight the industry level, and this has been taken for about 11 different categories within the retail industry. They include everything from gifting to gourmet foods to apparel to electronics, etc. And we have tried to track what was the cost per click inflation, and we have included, just for the purpose of this presentation, only the non-mobile clicks or search queries as such. So the mobile data is not really a part or in the scope of this particular study. So just because we wanted to do a like-to-like comparison, we had the last year's non-mobile, or let us say the PC-based searches, and we wanted to compare this year's numbers with last year's data. So on Thanksgiving Day, there was a cost per click inflation of 21%, which was pretty much in line with what our projections was. It's a 25% near about, not a very strong day. On Friday, understandably, being Black Friday, the inflation was quite significant, 46%. Saturday, again, the cost per click inflation was about 30%. Sunday was about 29%. Cyber Monday, again expected, 61%. The cost per click just sort of went through the roof. Tuesday, we had forecasted 30, basically, to be a moderately important day. Again, we were fairly on track. Where we did not really meet up was the Wednesday of the Cyber Week. So on the 4th of December, the cost per click inflation was 30%. Now, if you really look at our projections, we didn't really expect the inflation to be so high. Thursday, again, 5th of December, the cost per click inflation, as you can see, was 40%, which definitely should have categorized this or put this in the red mode. So the the interesting observation actually was the week of Cyber Week, or the week of 2nd of December, was through and through a very strong week in terms of the overall sales revenue which were generated. The cost per clicks also went through the roof in certain cases which had not been predicted by us. But in most of the other areas, like whether it is Cyber Monday or whether it was the Tuesday which was there, etc., we were fairly on spot. Very interestingly, on Friday, the cost per click inflation was just 15%, 1.5. And as I have pointed out in my previous email, that day was actually a 1 billion plus day. So effectively, I wanted to, through a case study after this, after this data table presentation, wanted to show you as to how exactly we were able to really capitalize on the fact that even though the sales revenue or the demand was very high, but the cost per click was low, as a result of which the competitiveness was as not too much, and we were able to really get some substantial revenue growth for some of our clients, basically, who are holiday specific. So that was just to give you an idea of the overall, the day-wise CPC inflation. Let me move on to probably sort of now correlating what I have been just sort of mentioning. So if you look at it, the days marked in orange, again, this is again ComScore data, days marked in orange basically are all 1 billion plus days. And if you really correlate that with this particular slab or this particular tier, you would see that 61% cost inflation on Cyber Monday expected, very high competition. The next day, which is the 3rd of December, the overall CPCs came down year-on-year growth, 33%. So that was an opportunity. But the big opportunity really happened on the 6th and the 7th of December. And that was the time that we could really capitalize on the fact that the overall demand quantum or the overall revenue realized was significantly higher on a year-on-year basis as well as in absolute terms, while the cost per click competition was not really as high. So we really sort of capitalized on this to create some huge success stories in terms of the holiday revenue growth from our clients. In fact, the second part, as I mentioned, is basically an outgrowth of that. So again, in terms of purely the CPC key takeaways, the Cyber Week has been the strongest e-commerce week ever. I mean, there has not been a single instant when there has been a $5 billion week. Let us just put it. So this was the first time ever there was a $5 billion week. However, as we have seen on the Friday and Saturday specifically, the bid inflation was not essentially in 100% alignment with the extra demand, creating certain opportunities. Again, the holiday weekends have been stronger than in previous years, which again was a pretty interesting trend that a lot of people were not only searching but actually buying over the weekends, and that presented again a huge opportunity as such. So these were the two areas where any aggressive, sophisticated, around-the-clock paid search management could really have generated disproportionate returns or yields for retailers. And let me sort of present to you a case as to how exactly the NetElixir team used just these two trends, just the CPC gap and the gap between the cost per click inflation and the overall demand or the e-commerce revenues, and how we really applied it for one of our clients, Kansas City Steaks, to really drive some considerable growth. So just a quick slide on Kansas City Steaks. We basically sort of have been working with Kansas City Steaks for the last about 3 years now. It's a premium steaks and fine foods company. It has been around for almost about more than 80 years. Our holiday revenue growth goal was quite substantial. We were targeting a 50% plus growth. And we also wanted to use this period to grab the PPC or the paid search share of voice from competition. This would not be for competition. I'm sorry, there is a typo here. It would be from competition. So how did we really go about this plan? We actually sort of worked very closely with the Kansas City Steaks team to build a detailed execution plan around the holiday calendar, which I shared on the first slide. The plan actually was finalized after a mammoth 4-hour plus meeting with their executive team at the Kansas Steaks office on the September 19th. So we had a plan in place more than 2 months before the holiday season, let us say the peak holiday season as such. then we had to go about just executing the plan. So there were a couple of things that really sort of worked to our favor, and which really sort of, it was a compressed holiday season already. So just given that there were about 6 less shopping days, this was always going to be a pretty tight situation. So we wanted to ensure that we had all the entire execution plan ready. And one of the things which really helped us was the proprietary real-time bid optimization algorithms that we use as a part of our Elixir technology platform. We were able to identify the revenue maximization opportunities and execute the strategic bid changes. So what it meant was we were able to actually track the demand and the CPC changes for the industry on a real-time basis, and automatically the technology changed those bids so as to maximize the revenue potential or opportunity on an hourly basis. So it was almost like that holiday, the Black Friday weekend, became almost like a subset of, let us say, 4 days into 24 hours a day. It's basically 96 different hourly slots or day parts. And we were able to really mine the opportunity per day part and really tweak the bids so as to really maximize the overall incremental revenues for Kansas City Stakes. The second thing is, and there I guess just how we are structurally set up the account management team, we have an advantage because we have a group of specialists at NetElixir who work around the clock in 3 shifts. So I think that has really been of a huge benefit, specifically during holiday seasons, because we always had someone analyzing the competitive landscape, understanding where the gaps existed in the competitor's overall search marketing plan or even the promotional plan, identifying those incremental opportunities and making very rapid campaign changes. Like we sort of went about and changed ad copies about 7 times within a span of about 24 hours. Now again, all those things making it very targeted, almost like a hyper-targeted effect, along with a real-time bid optimization to sense out or smell out the opportunity and make those bid changes. Really we banked a lot on that. But at the same time, I mean, we realized the fact that any plan can go wrong. So we had a plan B in place just in case the plan A didn't work. Thankfully, in this case, it not only worked, it sort of worked amazingly. The results were quite significant. Again, this was how, again, sort of mapping that real-time thing. Overall, for Kansas City Stakes, if you were to take the Thanksgiving to December 14th, the overall sales revenue actually grew by 89%. Even more telling was the fact that we tried to use a third-party tool called Ad Guru to track the PPC share of voice. And if you notice, Kansas City Stakes and Omaha Stakes, which is the category leader in this space, had the same, almost the same brand contribution or the share of voice on PPC. So again, so effectively, so the entire process, the conclusions that we can derive from this thing is an ability to monitor, analyze, and manage bids around the clock through a combination of real-time bid optimization technology and expert management. In this case, definitely has had a substantial impact on revenues and ROI. A holiday plan, however detailed it may be, needs to have an adequate flexibility. I mean, we had a holiday plan which was finalized on the 19th September, which was a good 2 months before the Thanksgiving day. But we needed to add in that additional level of flexibility just in case something had to change. And real-time decisioning, which is, I think, can only happen through human intelligence and human intellect or human decision-making power, basically we were ready to sort of trigger the plan B at an appropriate point in time. So again, that real-time decisioning capability which expert human managers working around the clock can bring about definitely sort of was our plan B. It sort of worked well in plan A as well, where they spent a considerable amount of time analyzing, checking the competitor bid moves, etc., etc. Finally, we believe this holiday season will actually go down in e-commerce history as a landmark season. We always knew that this was going to be a difficult holiday season. And the big reason was there was like 6 lesser shopping days compared to any year since 2002. So it was a very compressed, it was a very tight holiday season. And very clearly we knew that the retailers had to be super prepared, extra prepared, in certain cases probably over prepared, just to really maximize the opportunities which were there. We knew that this holiday season would go around as a landmark almost, primarily because there would be either winners or losers. There would be very few people hanging in between. And the winners would win at the expense of the losers. So again, this was very clearly one of those historic e-commerce seasons where very clearly a well-prepared strategic plan with a rock-solid execution definitely sort of generated immense revenues for the client. So with that, I'll just sort of pass this over to Marin. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Udayan. We're actually going to open up the floor now if anyone has any questions. Let's see here what we have. Okay. First question, Udayan. What should marketers do to take advantage of the fact that a greater percentage of sales is happening over weekends?
See, that is a new trend, Marin. That's a great question, by the way. I mean, that's a new trend which has been very prominent this holiday season. And I mean, this was something which marketers need to be just extra prepared and extra ready for because, I mean, now people are not only searching over the weekend, they're actually buying over the weekend. So they have to really factor in a way to manage those campaigns, the paid search campaigns over the weekend, analyze, maximize, track the competitor positioning, etc. Because as again, through the Kansas City Stakes, what I have tried to present is just with that additional level of hyper-analytical management, there was significant quantum of revenues which could have been generated, basically. So an additional level of preparation, having a holiday campaign management support, and obviously having a technology, a real-time technology is great to really back it up, is becoming almost like an essential feature because earlier the holidays and the weekends were normally not really as strong. But as we have seen during the holiday season, the weekends have really come up as strong dates as such.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you. Okay, let me look for another question here. Okay, per your research, do you still see a higher percentage of last-minute sales?
That's again a great question. I mean, if you really if you were to sort of track down our research, and over the let us say about last 5 years of retail research since we started coming up with this this study, we have seen that a certain percentage of sales anyway happens last minute, or let us say the last week, which is basically this week. A significant chunk or percentage of sales anyway happens. So from that perspective, I think it is fair to estimate that that would sort of continue this year as well. Now, if you really consider the fact, online sales overall, again, this is per the ComScore data, has increased year on year by about 24%. Effectively, we would still feel, just given that this is a shorter time frame, the 24% is not really an accurate representation if you just divide by the number of days which has really happened per day overall sale. So from that perspective, I mean, yesterday was a very strong day. I mean, it's almost like, though it's not really Green Monday, which was 9th of December, but I mean, it's safe to assume that yesterday was stronger than even Green Monday, which was the 9th of December. And we would expect this trend to continue till the last shipping date available. So we would pretty much expect the heavy sales and the last minute sales to really continue till this Friday at least, if not longer. So yes, and it would be disproportionately higher if you really took at on a percentage basis per day basis compared to the previous years as such, because the overall online sales growth from Thanksgiving till now has not been 50% or anything, and it has been sort of 24%, and we expect that the same trend, at least if not more, should continue in terms of the year-on-year growth rate in terms of online sales over this week as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you. All right. And any additional questions we didn't get to, we'll certainly share those answers with you and follow up after the webinar. And if you think of anything else afterwards, please feel free to reach out to me. So, thank you for your time today. If you'd like more information about NetElixir Search Marketing Services and our technology, or like I said, have additional questions, you can email me, Marin at NetElixir, or you can give me a call directly on my extension. And, we would love it if you would help us spread the love and tweet about today's webinar. You can use hashtag NetElixirU to go ahead and tweet about it. And we really do appreciate your time and wish you best of luck the remainder of this holiday season.
Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you very much.